What's up, y'all? My name is Ariana. Wait. Happy Black History Month to the Black folk and the Black folk only. This is our month, our year. We run this, basically. And so, while we're here, that's what we're going to be talking about. The first topic, part of our topic, the first little question, little topic or whatever is, why we have an MLK Day and don't got a Malcolm X Day? It's not adding up to me, but what y'all think?
I would like to start. I think that the people who give the days, I don't know who give the days, but the people who give the days, they feel like MLK was peaceful with his activism and Malcolm X was a bit too violent, which is not necessarily the truth. Like it is, but it's not necessarily the truth. What y'all think?
I think you're
Yeah, I
right.
definitely agree.
Yeah. Martin Luther King Jr. He was like an advocate for like peaceful protests and stuff like that, right? But we have to remember that he did some violent stuff in his day too to fight for the same thing that Malcolm X fought for. So I guess it's just watering it down a little bit in a sense of like what Martin Luther King did. If that makes sense.
I'm kind of thinking of it as like just like in terms of like black people today, like white people accept what they feel comfortable with. And they felt more comfortable with MLK than Malcolm X, which is obviously why we have a MLK Day rather than a Malcolm X Day. I just feel like just like every day, like white people are so much more accepting and so much more they endorse more of like black people that they feel comfortable around. You know, somebody who's gonna kind of assimilate to make them, just feel just I don't know, it just really makes me think of like code switching and just the whole system in general, how it's just so dumb, just too overrun by white people, and I'm not feeling it at all.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that they think MLK is very like cookie cutter token black person who's like peaceful. I'm all about peace. I don't want to aggravate the white people. But like they didn't do all of that until he died. And so they're taking his image about what they remember was the good parts or the acceptable parts from him, and they're running with it. Like all the white people, as soon as it's MLK Day, they love to post they nice little MLK quote, even though they don't never talk about either they don't never talk about MLK any other day. They don't never do anything for black people any other day, but they will still post that MLK quote on MLK Day.
And will.
I feel like my thing though, I don't know the people that make the days. And I think that it's a lot of people that are missing days. I don't know like what the qualifications were, what they are, but like I mean, obviously they need to be reevaluated because it's a whole lot like where's Ariana Day? That's not really important, but it should happen. But in general, like I think that the whatever the qualifications are to for people to have a day, if it hasn't already been reevaluated, then they need to. And also I don't think it's ever too late to make it happen. Like this is one of those people that generations are going to continue to learn about, and there's so many other people that we don't know about and we haven't learned about or aren't like in the spotlight when it comes to learning about people and important figures in our history. So I feel like if this is something people feel like needs to happen, and we could make it happen. I think it's a lot of things that need to happen, and like Kamari was saying, the system, the white people that's in the chairs and in these big important rooms, because that's where they put themselves and don't allow black people to be in, can have the boot.
Yeah. I just looked it up, and apparently Ronald Reagan is the person that signed the bill to make MLK Day a day, and all 50 states approved it. in 2000. So that's how it became a day.
I just feel like we know the government racist. No matter how hard the government try not to be racist, the government's racist.
I don't even think they tried all
So
that.
they be doing little stuff. We're not gonna say that that's little stuff. Never mind. I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say.
I agree that it's little stuff. I feel like a lot of things that the government does in Black people's honor is very performative.
I was
Very
gonna
much.
bring up my vice president, the current one, the one we just got. That is how the government tries not to be racist. And it's manners of those ways, how they bring in Black girls, Black young women to give poems at inauguration balls, how they bring Beyonce in to give, stuff like that. That is how the government tries to tell people that they're not racist. But in that same breath, the government will allow Black people to be shot dead on the street at an exponential rate. So something about us not being able to get a Malcolm X Day because the government wants to coddle the lives of white people and their children and say that, well, he fought peacefully, so if you have a problem, you need to fight peacefully as well, is insane. Malcolm X was very, very I don't even want to say headstrong, but come on now. Like, I will never believe that Martin Luther King was any more peaceful than Malcolm X was, because they both ended up assassinated. So
I think I'm not gonna say it's impossible, because I don't think that's the case, but I do know that it's very unlikely that we will get a Malcolm X Day, because just throughout history, throughout our everyday lives, we see that they only make space for a certain amount of Black people. Like, imagine two Black people getting a day. Wow. Like, it's just very odd and very unusual that would happen, simply because you guys already have MLK. Why do you guys need a Malcolm X too?
y'all already have Black History Month. Why do you need regular rights any other time? Like,
literally.
No, for
Exactly.
real.
To kind of piggyback off of what Kyla said, the government and America and just society in general is very performative when it comes to Black people. Like, I don't know if y'all remember, like during all of the George Floyd protests and the just all of the protests, they just kept trying to do these little things like, oh, if a white person is playing a Black person on a TV show, they replace the actor. Or they changed Aunt Jemima. They're changing Aunt Jemima to something else, or they're changing Uncle Ben to something else. Like, they were just like throwing out little things to like distract us from the fact that these police officers were getting off. Like, it's very annoying. It's very performative, and it's just like they need to stop.
I agree.
yeah, it's definitely giving performative, systematic, if you will.
Well, since I kind of touched on, we got all of these people that we know about and that we don't know about, and there's so much that is hidden from us. Not even just people, but different events. I talk about this all the time, like the very little amount of people that know about the Rosewood, and Tulsa. Like, those were very important events that took place that shaped us and got us to where we were. And it's a lot of people that helped us get to where we were, and just just a lot of different things. We really are the mode and everything that we have now, and that's just not acknowledged enough. So let's get into overlooked figures in Black history, aside from the big three.
Who are the big three?
Okay.
The big three being Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. It's probably like a big five: Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Madam C.J. Walker. Maybe
People don't even know who Sojourner Truth is. Let's talk about it. No. Sorry, Daddy was gonna speak though.
I was just gonna say that I volunteer myself to go first for my overlooked person. I chose Ethel Waters. She was a blues singer and also an actress. She was the very first Black woman to star in her own show called The Ethel Waters Show. And she was the first Black woman, first Black person, man or woman actually, to be nominated for an Emmy, I believe.
Period. Miss Ethel Waters. Who's gonna go next? I can go if y'all want me to. Okay, I'm gonna go. So my person, I'm gonna say Nat Turner. If you don't know who Nat Turner is, please stop what you're doing and go find a way to watch The Birth of the Nation, the 2016 film, not whatever came before that. Nat Turner was an activist, if that's what you want to call him. He was an enslaved Baptist preacher who basically set a town in Virginia on fire because he was fed up. Yeah, if you watch The Birth of a Nation, it shows the outrage, the massacre, whatever you want to call it, the rampage that he went on, where he basically burned the town down and got all of his people out of it, and like told them like, yeah, I'm done with this. He did end up being hung in the end, but it was definitely the motive more so that held more impact. Yeah, yeah, this happened in like, I actually don't know when this happened, but I feel like it was like the 1800s. I don't know though. So Jada, you might have to cut that out because you're not gonna fact check me and tell me I'm wrong. That's not gonna happen. Um, yeah, not all y'all trying to find out people. Y'all are sick.
We have no person.
I I would like to go next. I have Daniel Hale Williams. He is the first person and the first Black person to perform successful open heart surgery. He also founded the first interracial hospital, Providence Hospital, right here in Chicago. Was actually the hospital that I was born in. So, yeah, he also created two hospital-based training programs for nursing, and he co-founded the National Medical Association. So he was all around just a great Black person in the medical field who really revolutionized a lot of things in the medical field for Black people and for everybody.
I would like to go. Do you want to go? If you want to go, you can go.
Yeah, I'll go. I chose Flip Wilson. He is the first successful Black stand-up comedian. If it wasn't for people like Flip Wilson, we wouldn't have Kevin Hart, Chris Rock, Steve Harvey, all of the people that we know today. He was also a very successful actor. He had his own show, and there's one more. People Are Funny. That's actually the name of the show. People Are Funny. So yeah.
Puriana. I decided to go to like a more personal route. Just try to find somebody who was more personal to me, and I chose Miss Zelda Wynn Valdes. I don't know if it's Valdez or Valdes, but she was the first African American fashion designer. She, y'all know the Playboy bunny, that little design, that was her. That was she. That actually it debuted in Chicago at the very first Playboy Club. Um, yeah, I just feel like that she's somebody that's very overlooked because people don't necessarily look into. Yes, Ari is very much in love with Playboy, but she's like, uh, yeah, she's just a very overlooked person. People don't really look into like, fashion designer, historical figures in that era. And just for her to be like the first, I just feel like that's very big. And she was a Black woman at that. So
Period. Women
let
weren't
that
getting no
sizzle.
As she
heat back
should.
then.
Let that sizzle in your spirit.
I guess that means that I am left. And so my person is Annie Lee Cooper. If you've seen Selma, you know that she played a big role. And I think what I like most about her, and I wish everybody knew about her, is that Miss Annie Lee Cooper punched a sheriff in the face. And I just feel like that's bussin'. So please get into her. She helped with the Selma activists, all that. She worked beside MLK. I was just when I found out she punched the sheriff in the face, it really did something to my spirit, because as you should. Thank you. Okay, so we all just said our people. Next up, we're going to talk about the watering down of MLK's legacy. Let's get into it.
Okay. I kind of have a starting comment here. I was generally talking about Black History Month as a whole when we were meeting. And I kind of mentioned that I feel like when we celebrate Black History Month, we're celebrating the watered down version of it. Basically the white man's Black History Month. And this kind of goes back to what Kamari said about how white people only allow us to do things that they're comfortable with, and when we're stepping outside of their comfort zone, that's when things start to become an issue. And I feel that way about not only Black History Month but also MLK's legacy. Like, when you hear about the work that he did, you hear he was so peaceful, he did all these peaceful protests, he used to march. You don't really get into like the depths of it.
I agree. Just speaking from like personal experience, I don't know much about MLK outside of the peaceful protest and outside of him being a reverend at church. Like, people only like pick and choose what part of someone's history to teach. And I just think that says a lot about the people who are teaching us, the people who are in charge of what we learn, just about specific people. Like, if I knew more stuff, like just hearing about Malcolm X, sometimes I get a little tired because like y'all say the same exact thing every year about the same man, about the same march, about the same speech. Let me learn something different. I feel like while I was younger, if I learned more about him, just different stuff, just seeing that he was multidimensional, because as people were naturally multidimensional, I just think I would be more intrigued. It just would not feel tiring to constantly hear about MLK in the same speech. It just wouldn't feel as tiring as it does now. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like it was definitely coming into high school and like coming into Brooks. It was definitely like a shell shock when it came to Black History Month, because at my old elementary school, like during Black History Month, almost every single class, with with the exception of maybe like math or something, we would talk about something related to Black History Month, like in every single class. So especially in our social studies classes, so when it came to Brooks and it was Black History Month, we just moved right along with whatever we were doing in class that year. Like, we never took a minute or even like one class period to go, oh yeah, it's Black History Month, let's learn about a Black figure. And I thought that was so weird, because I was like, we go to a majority Black school, and I mean, our school is named Gwendolyn Brooks, and I don't know much about Gwendolyn Brooks. All I know is that she was a writer. And I just feel like, yes, we do have like Black history assemblies. But other than that, I just don't see the importance being displayed at our school, which is a problem to me.
I definitely agree. Anybody that got any classes with me know that Kyla don't have no problem with going off on children. And recently, we were talking about this topic, the watering down of Malcolm X. I mean, not Malcolm X, Martin Luther King's legacy, and how that translates to the watering down of like everything they teach us. And we were talking about how like many people don't really know about the Black Panther Party. They know that the Black Panthers wore leather, and that the Black Panthers walked around with guns, and that the Black Panthers wore flawless berets. That's another topic in itself. But they don't know that the Black Panthers were anti-capitalist. Like, they don't know why the Black Panthers were out doing what they were doing. Black people were being targeted at an alarming rate in the 1960s when the Black Panther parties were founded. So yes, they were shooting out of windows at the police because the police were shooting at Black people for absolutely no reason. And that's something that they don't teach in schools because that's not necessarily a positive outlook on what I think ultimately the United States in general, I've said it many times, they have a real problem with accountability. That's why we don't get reparations. A lot of other countries, I think I read a thread about Australia, they gave their people reparations like, hey, we messed up. We did that, and we apologize because we feel sorry. So I'm gonna issue out what we need to issue out. The United States is out here like, man, y'all just talking about that. Yes, we are still talking about that, and we're gonna talk about it for the rest of our existence because y'all won't acknowledge it. So when I think about these Black leaders that they don't teach about in school, when I think about these Black events that they don't teach about in school, like Tulsa, like Rosewood, the Black Panther Party. I mean, people know Black Panthers, but we don't analyze Black Panther speeches like we do Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. We definitely not looking at no Malcolm X speech. So I know they're not letting us look at nothing that Fred Hampton said or Huey P. Newton was talking about, not even the goddess Angela Davis. So it's like these people were teaching a lot of stuff that a lot of our teachers claim to be for. Everybody says they do not want a capitalistic environment. Nobody wants that for themselves. But these Black people, these Black leaders were teaching the same things, and we're not learning about it at all. Like, bro, get that lesson plan that Illinois gave you. We don't want it. Okay, I am a junior in high school. I ain't gonna learn no more white history because don't nothing else change. They kept stealing stuff and people and tribes and places and kids, and like that's all it is until like the 1900s. So since we summed that up, like we don't need that anymore.
Thank God we don't have to take a history class next year, because if I hear another colonization story, I might just fall out. Like,
United States history is
please,
the like
please.
worst class I've ever taken in my life. I cannot stand it. I don't care about John Brown. Okay, he was an abolitionist or whatever. I don't care about none of that. Okay, my people were somewhere enslaved. Let's learn about that. And we don't want to learn about the slave ships, love. Why would I want to learn about the slave notes and no, that's traumatic. Can we learn about some stuff we ain't never heard of?
Okay, from the perspective of a slave master. What, DBQ? Please keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear it.
Ooh, let's talk about the day where she made us look at not even gonna get into it.
Okay.
No, I definitely agree.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I I definitely agree with what everybody has said. And I think what stood out to me, I think it was what Kamari was saying, like these people were multidimensional. They had lives, like they had things that they had to get through and that they had to do that weren't necessarily, in the spotlight. Like getting an education at that time, having a job, like these were things that we should have known, we could have known, that it would have been valuable to know. Like they were still people at the end of the day who had lives, who had children, who had just were doing a bunch of different things, and those are things that we need to know, because these are people that to a T, like we're gonna be like that we look up to, and that could be inspirations to us, and we just don't even know the half of what we should. And it's just like learning everything from a white perspective is not doing anything for me, at all. Like my grandmother she'll talk to me about things, and it's just like, wow, like I would have never guessed that this is what it was like, you know what I'm saying? Because I ain't had no idea. I can't spread no knowledge to anybody else because I don't know anything. I know the bare minimum, and a lot of what I do know is lies, or is sugar coated into something that it was not. And I just know, like, what we think things were it was so much worse. And they act like it's not. And I feel like I was having this conversation with Kyla, or she brought it up in the conversation, just like they be making us think all our pictures was black and white. And pictures is not black and white.
If they were sending me into the moon and had color TV, all the pictures you can find in black and white were also in color.
And I don't know. I feel like they just try to really dull down everything that was going on. And it's just like, for what? Like, you did it. It happened. You can't change it. The least you could do now is tell me the truth. Y'all don't want to do anything else? The truth would be nice. It's not gonna hurt nobody.
And,
So, go ahead.
I've definitely heard this multiple times before. A lot of times it's because people want us to forget about it or just like act like it never happened. But I can't. Like, just because it happened 60, 70 years ago doesn't mean that I shouldn't know about it, you know? That happened to my grandmother. So I need to know what happened. That was a brutal time in history.
I also
Yeah,
really quickly. You want to go?
no, you can go.
Um. Oh, back to the point that Ariana was making. They don't want to tell the truth because I really do think that just like we've been looking at Martin Luther King a lot in U.S. history, so he's really fresh on my brain. Apparently, the FBI was scared that there was going to be a black messiah. So I feel like if there was a black messiah and they figured that out and black people came together as a union and literally just decided, hey, we don't need this no more and decided to burn everything down and just start from the beginning, white people would be infuriated and so afraid that they just wouldn't know what to do. So I think that they don't want to tell the truth because they're so afraid of black people and their unity, which is why the Black Panther Party was the most wanted party in the time of their like being when they were all together and their leaders were still here. So I do feel like that has a lot to do with the whole thing.
Yeah, on the point of like telling us the truth, I feel like as much as they like tell us, they tell us the bad things about slavery and segregation and all that stuff, but they don't tell us the terrible things that happen. Like they don't tell us about how they used to literally eat us and how the story of George Washington's teeth, that it was wood, made of wood, but nah, it was made of slave teeth. Like there are so many like terrible and like unhumane things that they did to us that they don't talk about. And the same thing goes for like they focus on bad things, but they also don't always give us all of the triumphs either. Like there's so many people and so many inventions that came from black people, but we don't ever hear about it. Like the only thing that I know for that I've learned that a black person invented was the stoplight and the ironing board and a bra. Other than that, I don't like there's not many things that I know that was invented by black people, and I feel like they don't really show those things, those really good things that happen to us, as
Not
well as
even
they don't tell us the really terrible things.
not even just inventions though. Like we're just smart. Y'all know about Henry Brown, Henry Box Brown?
Yes.
That man mailed himself to freedom. Okay, got in the box and said, "I'm leaving." He said, "Peace out," and mailed himself to freedom. I
Well,
just
that story, I learned about it one time, and I think this proves you guys' point. I learned about it one time, maybe sixth, seventh grade. I'm a sophomore in high school now, and I haven't heard about it.
Right, right.
So, but yeah, I
I
definitely know the story. It's a good one.
I also feel like people really need to stop the whole narrative. Like when I learned about George Washington Carver, it was like, oh, and a black man did that. Like my black teachers was teaching me like, oh, and a black man did that, as if we're surprised that black people can do anything. I don't like the whole narrative, especially with black teachers coming in. Y'all don't really be for the people like y'all say y'all for the people. You're not supposed to be teaching like you surprised that the people is really don't teach to the black kids and be shocked that the black kids are smart now. It's giving, I don't want to say cool, but that's what's going on. Like, what are y'all doing? It's been like that for a very long time. So I was in like maybe first grade too. Like, why are we putting emphasis on? I can understand wanting to like emphasize, hey, black people can, but the more y'all keep saying it, the more y'all kind of like emphasizing that black people weren't doing nothing. And yeah, y'all want black people weren't on nothing back in the day. When it's really black people couldn't be on nothing back in the day. Like, yeah, no, we gotta change the narrative.
I
Yeah, they
agree.
definitely make it seem
Yeah.
like an anomaly for black people to do well, or like it's so rare. But just like you said, but they weren't allowed to.
Not even.
Yeah,
I
and
feel. Go ahead, Jada.
I kind of wanted to bring up a point about, like, I know, Kamari, you went to a Catholic school or a private school, if I'm correct. I was.
I went
Why we
to,
laugh?
I went to a variety of schools, so go ahead.
Well, at some point in time, OMG. But I was the only Black kid in
Oh,
my
I know what you're talking about.
entire.
I know what you're talking about. I went to a suburban school.
Yeah, I was the only Black kid in my middle, elementary, that whole shebang school, kindergarten through 8th grade. And at a certain point, it kind of got to like, okay, we were scratching the surface of Black history, but more so, how much would you have really said if I wasn't like a part of the school? Like, I understand that we're talking about Black history, but it felt like we're talking about it for the sake of the Black child that's in our classes. Like, not because we really want to give these other kids an understanding about Black history so that they don't have misinterpretations that can mess them up in the future, but more so, well, we feel like we have to say this because there's a Black child in our presence.
Yeah. I think just going back into, I don't know, I'm just thinking about like earlier how I got so excited when Wasila had mentioned Daniel Hale Williams. When I was younger and I went to a majority white, this is back when I was like the only Black kid in my grade, dang near the whole school. Um, when we were assigned like Black people, like for Black History Month, which is I didn't know any better. I was younger. But when we were like assigned like Black people to like kind of embody, like dress up as, I got Daniel Hale Williams. I feel like it's important for kids, regardless of what race or color they are. This history is their history too. Like they're white, the white people that they look up to, they wouldn't know how to do no open heart surgery if it wasn't for Daniel Hale Williams. And I just feel like the fact that it had to be taught as a Black history lesson and not just a history lesson in general. Back to, I forgot who brought this up. I think it was Kyla. It does not have to be exaggerated. This was a Black man who did this, or this is a Black woman that did this. This is simply a person that did this and they happen to be Black. It needs to be taught regularly. Like, we're normal people. We've been a part of society. We've been functioning normally as a society for years, decades now. Why is it such a surprise that a Black person can do a good thing? Just, yeah, very, very tired, very much let's not have our kids growing up with that mindset excited because they actually learned something about a unconventional Black human being when they were younger, and never again.
I would just like to say that again. Black history is history. It's not just our history, it's everybody's history. American history, the world's history. Black history is history. You may go.
Period. I just wanted to point out that just shows how it's been 30 minutes. I don't have to point it out then. Like, Betty, you could have just said that. I just will, since I was already talking, I just want to point out that does really show how the United States people in general, not even just the United States, because it's just at this point it's a personal thing. People hate Black people in their soul. Like, I really believe it's a generational tie at this point. Like, you don't even know why you hate Black people, but your great grandpeople were slave owners, and that's why you hate Black people. So I feel like it just shows the alienation of Black people from society. It feels like we are in society, but every day we notice, we're shown that these people really don't mess with us, and it is what it is. But it shouldn't just be it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be no reason why people still going on elevators and whatnot, and everybody looking like, oh my gosh, she's Black. Like, I've been many places and people looked at me like they ain't never seen a Black girl before. Like, Jesus. Yeah, this is me. They be acting like I'm just gonna be able to wipe my skin off. No, that's not okay. So I do feel like if we haven't learned anything from the last 400, 500 centuries, it's that Black people are here to stay. Actually, we're coming at a more exponential rate. So let's just get used to it. It is what it is. Black people are people. We bleed the same. Like, it is what it is. We may be better than the white race. I think we are, but that is another conversation. Yeah.
So we're gonna keep on going. Now, we finna talk about, I wanna know who y'all are nominating for Coon of the Month.
You should definitely explain what a coon is.
Oh, Coon. Tagging in a friend because I don't want to explain this story.
I'm dead.
I just feel like it's easy for me to just be like, yeah, this person is a coon, but the person I thought of is a teacher, so I just am stuck on that. I'm trying to be
No,
nice.
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Sorry.
I'll go. Basically, a coon is a Black person, no gender. It's all genders. For all Black people, if you are Black, basically someone who performs an action or just regularly does something to basically a Black pick-me to white people.
Yeah.
Basically.
That was really good.
I just feel like that's the most simple way to explain it.
That was really good.
Disclaimer: any non-Black person cannot call a Black person a coon. I don't care. I don't care who. Don't care if you're BIPOC. Don't care if you're. I don't know. If you're non-Black, you should not be calling a Black person a coon. It's not your business. Mind your business. Support Black business.
If you're not Black, it's a slur.
Definitely.
Please. Who are y'all nominating?
I don't have a coon of the month. I'm piggybacking.
So wait, question. Do coon have anything to do, like the word itself, that don't have nothing to do with a raccoon?
Oh, Jesus. Wait,
think
I'm
I
it
feel like
did.
it derived. I don't know where it came from.
Probably derived from something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
It has to do something with physical features, right?
probably.
But I feel like the coon don't got physical feature things for real.
It's given dark around the eyes, and I feel like that's why white people did.
Yeah, that's what
Came from white
It's
people.
an abbreviation of raccoon. It's dehumanizing. That's why Black people be saying don't use the word coon. I can't understand why people don't say, like, people. I feel like coon, to call somebody a coon is the same thing as cancel culture. And y'all know a lot about that because I've seen that that's y'all AP seminar topic. Yeah, I'll be looking at the little things. Yeah, it's just basically like, so like this is the picture that popped up when I looked it up, and it's like a Black man in the way that they used to draw Black men back in the day with like the big red lips, but he's apparently he's idle and he's lazy. He's not doing anything. So like that, I guess he wasn't doing anything for the culture. It was so many people that was doing like running away, getting people to run away and stuff like that. He was a coon because he didn't care, I guess. I'm not sure. We'll look into it more though.
Do y'all have any nominations, or are we just? Oh, am I still going?
I would like to go first. My coon of the month is Mr. Christian Walker, son to Herschel Walker. I think Herschel is a football player or whatever. But that man is one of the biggest coons I have ever seen in my life.
Girl.
He's very much a Trump supporter. Very much Black. I think his mother is white. She might be Black. I'm not sure. I think he's biracial. He is a biracial gay man who constantly perpetuates racial stereotypes, homophobic stereotypes, and it's just not it. He loves to say Trump 2020. He's very much anti-Black. Like, he thinks that Black people are lazy, and because he's of the higher scale, higher class or whatever, so he tends to look down on lower class people. Yeah, and he be on TikTok just spewing mess, just straight mess. At this point, he seems like a caricature, and it's disgusting. So yes, he is the coon of the month for me.
I have a nomination. It's kind of like a bulk, you know. We gotta send out little mini awards to all of them. Every black person who followed Trump on Twitter. Um, I just I just did not enjoy looking like through election time through January. Before that, back in 2016, I didn't even have Twitter back in 2016, so I'm gonna shut up about that. But when I got Twitter, and whenever I would look at that man's profile and see the amount of black people following him, I just, even though following isn't that big of a deal, I just don't understand why you would allow yourself to have that type of content on your timeline. It just, I just don't get it. I'm, yeah, giving very much coonery, coonerama, just giving it all. But yeah, that's mine. I don't know if anybody else has one. Anybody else got one?
I was just gonna say Asian, but that's just because
Literally.
Asian, baby. Why? I think she's such a beautiful woman. And when I found out that she was a Trump supporter, voted for Trump, all of
Why,
that, I
bro? You know,
appreciate.
I need some context. I feel like I'm disconnected with the media. When this happened, I'm not following.
Ooh, this happened like back in November, late October, no, early November, around election time. She had posted a video. It was basically, it was for economic reasons. I don't think it was because of like what he stood for as like a person, but like economic reasons. She like,
So
I
she
know
got money.
a bunch of my homies, they came up off of COVID, and it's all because of Trump. Trump gonna hold it down for the people who making money, for the millionaires, blah 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 blah. I'm voting for Trump.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I found out and it hurt the heart. How you talented, you black, you so
She was
I ain't even
messing
gonna
with a
get into it.
dude who was in
Okay?
jail, like who was like in the streets. Trump didn't care none about that at
It's
all. He would have
sick.
locked him up and threw away the key.
Literally. Sick. Asian, if
Yeah.
you see this, I love you. And
Oh my gosh. No, please don't drop your number. We don't have time for
that's
that.
736 us.
Oh my god.
But nah, like it's just sick. And I think that when I be thinking about it, every time I see on my timeline, I just be like, I'm gonna like this, but I'm not gonna keep liking your pictures till you get it together. But I still be liking that post, man.
I still follow her. I'm ashamed of myself. But I just feel like that's because she wasn't canceled completely. Like the thing is, the only reason
Yeah, just cause
I
I didn't
understand why she
know.
said what she said. I understand why she said what she said. Even though it was very much ignorant of her, I understand why, for economic reasons. When people have grown up and they never touched money, they never had this, they never seen $2,000 at one time before. People get greedy and money hungry and want more. So of course she gonna do some stuff like that. Not an excuse, but I understand why, which is why I blocked that lady. But I don't know who won. I think Christian Walker might be the worst of the three nominations. I think he won. Who y'all voting for?
I don't think we have to have a winner coon, bro. Like they all equally are not for the black population.
Understandable. Understandable.
Everybody takes first place. If you're a coon,
Power on. Parrot.
it's just that bad. Like I don't.
Okay.
I think we can move on to the second segment of the show.
I agree.
Oh
Wait,
my
wrap us up,
gosh.
Ariana. Wrap it
So
up first.
well, that was us talking about Black History Month, coons, what Black History Month mean to us, Black history education, few different things. Hope y'all enjoyed that.